Peace and blessing, family. It's your man Maarifa, and welcome to another Maarifa moment where knowledge is reborn. Are you ready? Let's go. All right, yeah, we black. Your man Maarifa is black yet again with another great video, man. We got us a great topic today, man. We talking about the Olmecs, the African Olmecs who founded the Americas. You understand what I'm saying? The very first civilization in America. That's right, African Olmecs. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into all of that, we're gonna get our admin notes out the way so you know how we do it. Take a look at this banner right here. Take a look at it. We need you to like, subscribe, follow, and share all of our social media platforms at where? Maarifa Saw LLC. That's right. Go over to Maarifa Saw LLC and get onto all our social media platforms. You can smash the like button. You can smash the subscribe button right now. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe. So let's get our subscriber list up. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe right now. Hit the bell so you'll be notified when we drop a new video. You know what I'm saying? The second thing we need you to do, soon as this video is over, we need you to go right over to maarifasar.com. That's right. Check me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking fly. Look at these fly melon beans you see right here on this screen, man. They looking fly and fresh to death. You need to go and look fly too and represent the culture. Go over to maarifasar.com and get you something fly and fresh, you know what I'm saying, and represent the African culture. You know what I mean? So 15% off right now, all the way through to 2022, the new year, you know what I'm saying? Go and take advantage of those sales while they last. You know what I'm saying? So now that that's out the way, are you ready for the lesson for today? Well, let's go. All right, let's get into it. The Americas. All right, everybody, we living here in America, you know what I'm saying? We know that we've been taught a certain way about the history, the historical origins of America from the white man. All right. The white European has told their version, their story of how they discovered America and how they came over to the new lands and civilized it and did all of these, great and wonderful things. But we all know, you know what I'm saying, that the true history has been covered up, and been whitewashed, for many, many centuries. From generation to generation, the white man has been telling a lie to different generations to make themselves out to be something greater than what they are. Okay, so we all know that, this is the lie that they depict, that Christopher Columbus came over here and, civilized these Indians and that were in this land, indigenous to America. And we have a lot of people with the argument of indigenous versus aboriginal and all this, that, and the third. But we're going to get into who, actually civilized America first. But when you see the lies that were told, in the public school system, you'll notice that Christopher Columbus was given the credit of discovering America, and he didn't even make it over to the Americas. You know what I'm saying? He was all throughout the Caribbeans, raping, pillaging, killing, and bringing disease. But he died before he even got to America. But they ain't gonna tell you that part of history, the true history. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna keep telling this wonderful lie and make it seem like Christopher Columbus did something great. And a lot of people really know the truth. The protesters, they'll let you know Columbus didn't discover nothing. He invaded the lands and killed off a lot of indigenous people in the lands, and they stole and took the lands. That part, they cover that up. You know what I'm saying? With the whole CRT movement right now, they're trying to, whitewash or get rid of all of the negative, aspects of history that white people have committed genocide on multiple races of people. So they don't want, to have this label, you know what I'm saying, of these, the truth, you know what I mean, of being evil and wicked. But we know that Africans discovered America first. It wasn't no Christopher Columbus. Africans had already been over here millions, thousands and thousands and thousands of years before a European ever got on a boat. Okay, and we're gonna check that out. So the correct version, and you see right here in this image, the false one on the left, where they have Christopher Columbus and them coming off the sailboats, saying they discovered America. But on to the right, you can see the brothers, you know what I'm saying, dressed in the galabeas, Africans coming over to Americas off the boats, They were the first maritime, navigators of the seas and the oceans. So, the Africans were the first ones here. And you could tell the trade routes that were going back and forth through the monsoon currents, that they were going back and forth from Africa to the Americas. That's how the Olmecs got here. And, there's been trace evidence, archaeological evidence that was found, plant life, skulls, bones and skulls that were found in America that trace back to Africa. So the evidence is clear. Okay. So there you have it. In this period, you're talking about 800 BCE to about 400 BCE. The Olmecs, the African Olmecs from West Africa and Western Sudan, were here in the Americas. Okay. They sailed on ships and they came over here into this land. La Venta was the area in which, right off the Gulf of Mexico, La Venta area, you know what I'm saying, where they came in and settled into those lands and started the very first civilization. Okay, the very first civilization in America was African Olmec. Don't get it twisted. They left trace evidence of themselves all over the Americas, and you still find them today. They put them in museums now. You see right here, these Olmec heads, these tons. They weigh multiple tons. You know what I'm saying? That technology that they carved the face out of is an African, skill set, like I mentioned in several videos before. But the Africans were traveling on boats, many, many, many centuries before any European ever got on a boat. You know what I'm saying? In their life. So if you ever sailed on a cruise ship and you ever took a cruise and you went out on the top deck during the daytime when the sun was at its highest peak, you know how hot it can get. And when you sailing across those seas for like months on end, and you taking and enduring all of that, sun that's absorbed down, because there's no shade on a ship. Okay, there's no trees to protect you from, the sun rays. There's nothing. You fully exposed on the ship. So Africans were able to sail the seas very easily because we have melanin in our skin. The melanin is a sun protectant. We absorb the sun rays. Okay. So we only get darker. You know what I'm saying? So the melanin in our skin allows us to get darker and it protects us from the sun rays. Now, with white Europeans, they don't have no melanin in their skin. So they will burn up and pretty much die. You know what I'm saying? They'll, get boils on their skin and the blood will rush to the top of their skin. And they'll more than likely, suffer some illness or, get very sick and die if they exposed to the sun for too long. Okay. So that's how they couldn't really survive in no, boats or nothing like that. And here I am right here in Kemet, you know what I'm saying? Over at Khufu's boat. This is Khufu's boat in Giza, right up in Khufu's pyramid. You know what I'm saying? They have a replica of Khufu's boat in which they reconstructed and put it together into the museum right there. And you can see how the boat with the oars were on it, and you could tell how the African craftsmanship of the boats was crafted. And then you had all of the anchors, and then you had the barge where you can go in and actually supply and store stuff in there, the storage bars. But the Mesoamerican, rather, Western African Bantu migration had begun in 800 BCE. You know what I'm saying? When the Phoenicians and the Africans, the Nubians, were trading back and forth. They were in search of new lands. The Phoenicians were seafaring Africans anyway. They was already on them boats rolling out, and they were pretty much mercenaries for the ancient Nubians. Okay, so they were going out being merchants, trying to find new lands, new resources and things of that nature. So they would take the boats and go out on the currents and then sail across different parts of the seas during different times of the year where those currents will push you through and take you to different parts of the world. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the Olmec got there, So the Olmec, you see the elder Ronoko Rashidi, who passed on recently. Uh, he is right here, traveled all over the world, looking for artifacts, ancient artifacts of African presence in every part of the globe. He was able to find some trace evidence of Africans all over the globe, and this is him in Mexico, in America. okay, with the Olmec head. You can see how tall it is, so how humongous that head is. Look at the features on it, the fullness of the lips, the broadening of the nose, you know what I'm saying? The cheekbone structure, clearly African structural traits, all right? So the Olmecs were the first civilization. They were the greatest civilization to come through, and they had, the civilization where they were, creating all type of things, and they were the first ones to do all of the stuff that was present here in the Americas. The pyramid structures, they created those and started those out, and other civilizations that followed them get the credit, like the Mayans and the Incas and Aztecs and all of that stuff like that. But it was the Olmec who began all of that, and those other civilizations just picked up from there. Okay, so you can see the African presence and the African influence right there, because that looks like Harun Maquette, right in Egypt, you know what I'm saying, with the African head and the body of the animal body. So you rising above your animalistic nature. That's the presence of that, premise of that. So you can see the African influence right there. You know what I'm saying? This is in the museum here in Mexico, in La Venta and Veracruz. You can see that right now. You can go over there and visit those Olmec heads in the museums right now. So they moved them all into one location where you can go and view them. All right, and you can tell right here the influence from Africa. This is Harun Maquette right there in Giza. You know what I'm saying? So the Great Sphinx is what they call it, and you can tell right there it has the influence that you see with the facial structure carved in, and the animalistic body and stuff like that. So there's the influence. So if people go on vacation and you go to a place called Cancun, beautiful sandy beaches, you know what I'm saying? And the waters are clear all the way through to the bottom, nice waves. You can have yourself a nice, beautiful, good, relaxing time on vacation in Cancun. But if you take a little bus ride about an hour away, you come into a place called Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza, right into the Yucatan Peninsula, is right outside of Cancun. Okay, and you can go and see the pyramids that are there right there in Mexico. Okay, so this is Chichen Itza, and they credit this to the Mayans. All right, and you can see how they had the step, pyramids. This is me right here in Chichen Itza, and I took a picture back there, and I think it was 2013 when I took that trip over there. But you can tell the pyramid structure is similar in nature to the African structure. Okay, you can tell the African presence and the African architectural structure in that building facility right here in Mexico. Okay, or right in Mexico. And there I am in Egypt, in Saqqara, with the step pyramid of Dozier, within the great Imhotep who designed this, with the mastabas, that were stacked on top of each other. And you can tell the similarities between this pyramid here in Americas and that pyramid in Egypt, both African architectural structures. Okay, so you could tell that the African had took those skill sets with them when they traveled and started to build. Okay, the Olmecs went over with the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, from the Nile Valley culture, because they come from Nubius, the Nubians, West Sudan, and they took that knowledge with them when they traveled, and they built that civilization right over there in the Americas. Okay, so you can tell the two structures and the similarities. So the mastaba is pretty much where the burial chambers for the pharaoh, the kings and the queens and things of that nature. Okay, so you have the tombs that are laid out, and it's in a rectangular shape, stone structure. And they have the shaft that goes down to the tomb where the tomb is, and you can go ahead and place the sarcophagus inside there, and that's the burial chamber. So what Imhotep did with his design, he stacked the mastabas on top of each other until you became into a pyramid structure and pyramid shape, and you could tell how it actually, was carried out. And then it was carried on the same way right here you see in America, with the mastaba levels stacked on one another up until you get to a pyramid structure at the top. Okay, so that's how they did it. That's the African, design. You could tell right there. Look at the mastaba structures in Kozacato. This is the pyramid over there in Kozacato. That you also had the mastabas over there as well. The pyramid structures in there as well. You can see. Okay, notice here the African columns. These columns here are, synonymous with African structure. Okay, the African architecture that you see in those columns did not start in Rome. The Romans took the knowledge from the Greeks, and the Greeks got it from the Egyptians. Okay, so the African Egyptians were the ones who started the columns. So you could tell right there that is in Chichen Itza. Those columns right there are pretty much designed the exact same way you'll see here in Egypt. Okay, so this is in Saqqara, and it's going down the causeway, the ancient causeway of one of the greatest causeways in Africa that's still up to this day, that you could walk down those corridors and you could feel the presence of the African ancestors as you walk down those corridors. I was able to do it in 2018 when I went to the Kemet New tour with brother Ashra Kwasi in the group. You know what I'm saying? The Kemet New family. I suggest everyone to go and take that tour. Yeah, it's an amazing pilgrimage that you should actually go on and take a look at. But you could tell the columns right there, and that structure is similar to what you see right there in America. Okay, so that knowledge and technology is prevalent in ancient Egypt, and as well as here in Americas. That tells you that the Africans who sailed over across into the Americas took that knowledge with them. Okay, on how to build. And here I am in this is Karnak Temple. Okay, then you could sell the huge columns right there, the huge columns that go all the way to the, I mean, hundreds of feet high. You know what I'm saying? Stories. I mean, just beautiful columns. You know, Essence Stone, and you could tell that's an African cultural structure. Okay. Here, right here, you see these structures right here with the shapes of the statuettes of the gods. You know, the Mexican altar gods they have here in Mexico. I believe this is in Peru. These particular gods are cut out and carved in stone, similar to what you see in Africa. All right, here you see me here in Abu Simbel. Okay, and you see the four, one, two, three, four, and you go into the chamber of Ramses. You know, into the temple of Ramesses. You can see right there the four gods. You know, the pharaoh kings that are in that statuette, and then you can go back to this here, and you can see they have one, two, three, four identified as well. You know, those god structures. But here you could clearly see it a little bit better. It's a better picture of it. But you could tell the similarities right there, and they copied it from Abu Simbel. Okay, so when you can see the influence that you have from ancient Egypt carrying over into the Americas, you could tell where it came from, and you can see that it is clearly African in nature. All right, venerating the pharaoh kings and those who are in rulership. All right. So you could tell the influence that you have in Egypt, Mexico, Indonesia, India, China, Peru, all similar in nature. You had the African influence all over the globe. It was a global influence. Okay. Africa had such a presence all over the globe because the Africans were traveling everywhere. All right, so we had Africans who migrated out of Africa and traveled and populated into regions and parts of the world, and they took with them the knowledge of their culture, the African culture, and you could tell the similarities in the architectural structures in which they built and the civilizations which they created. But then you look down in Europe, and Europe didn't have anything. You know, they were nomads. You know, they were living in caves. You know what I'm saying? They were very uncivilized human beings and did had no type of, you know, knowledge or anything like that to build any structures or to start a civilization. They were just pretty much living like savages. And that's the European truth about, you know, how they started out as opposed to Africans and what we were doing. Okay, and you could tell the knowledge, the intellectual knowledge that we had, you know, far in advance for, you know, centuries and centuries of knowledge and information that we had to be able to construct such great monuments, you know, that are still existing on this planet today that you can go and visit in the year 2022. Okay, so you can go and see these structures today. You could travel, get on a plane, book you a hotel, go do a tour, and go witness it with your own two eyes, the greatness and creation of the African people. Okay, they're still there. They're using them as tourist attractions right now. You know what I'm saying? So the people who are living in those regions and areas are making money off their economy off of the backs of Africans for many centuries. Okay, the things that the Africans built, those people are still making money off of what the Africans did centuries and centuries and centuries ago. But they don't want to give the credit to the Africans to say that they were the ones who created it. They want to take all the credit and lie to the people of the next generation and tell them that, hey, their people had done this, and and no African involvement was ever included. So they lying to the people, but they want to take all the money and the credit for something they never created. But anyway, you could tell right here that Africans had this knowledge of the universe and the stars. We were the first observers on the planet, of the astrologies, and we made sure that we lined everything up. You know what I'm saying? According to universal, structure. And you could tell that the temple, the pyramid structures that are in Egypt as well as in the Americas all line up with Orion's belt. Okay, the stars in Orion's belt. So you have to have some special mathematical, astronomical, geometric skills and knowledge to be able to align and build a building structure that will align directly with the stars in the sky. Okay, so as above, so below. So the African were so smart and advanced that we had aligned everything up on the planet according to the structure that you see in the sky. Okay, so we had that connection, that interconnection with the universe and the galaxy that is above. Okay, so advanced technology and understanding by the African. Now, also with the Olmec came the Twa. The Twa was, the little, short African indigenous from the Congo region. All right. And they traveled as well. The Twa, man, traveled all over the world. And you can tell their influence was also prevalent in the Americas as well. And they left trace evidence of themselves as well. So you have to take a look at, a lot of the architectural structures that you see in Mexico will show you references to the Twa. Okay, the Twa, the little short Africans, you could tell that they're short in stature. That's how you identify the Twa. And then you could tell right here, going back to the very beginning in Narmer's palette, you see the little Twa with King Narmer when he unified Upper and Lower Kemet. Okay, so they were etched in stone. The Twa had been around from the very beginning of time. Okay, so you could tell right here the God is best. God is best right there on the side. You could tell the influence. This is the African God is best, where the best is a Twa. You know what I'm saying? The little short Twa. And then you can see on the calendar, the Mayan calendar, right in the middle, the face, you could tell that the little Twa face, because you could tell, look at the tongue. Uh, You see the tongue sticking out. That's how you can identify best in the Twa, because they always had the tongue sticking out. Take a look at that. You see that? You see that tongue sticking out? That's how you know that that is a reference to the Twa, and you can see the eye rims around the eye. Okay, so that is a reference right there. The Mexican skull, you see it with the tongue hanging out? That's paying homage and reference to the Twa. All right, so they're giving you all of this information and they're telling you they are related to these Africans. Okay, they're giving you this knowledge and it's right in front of your face, but people will not make the connection because they don't know the history between the African and the full history of the African, because the African history has been destroyed or it has been tainted by white Europeans for so many centuries that people of a next generation don't even know. They have no clue, but it's right there in your face and nobody explained it to you and you won't even know. You have no clue. You see little Twa right there, you know what I'm saying? Ancient Egypt carved in stone with the tongue sticking out. See that? That's the Twa. The Twa is all over. You could tell right there with the tongue sticking out. The Twa. All right. So is it black enough for you yet? You know what I'm saying? Is it black enough for you yet? So like I said, Runoko Rashidi, he went all over the world, taking a look and finding African presence all over the world. You see in Kemet, Asia, Europe. In the next video, we're going to get into Europe and I'm going to talk about the African presence in Europe, but then Mexico. So we're talking about the Americas right now. So you could tell the African presence is all over the globe. All right. So we had a global African presence and we dominated in the world before the European took over and conquered everything. All right. So in Mexico, you could tell the skull shapes. These are some of the skull fractures and also trace evidence of African culture right there in America with the Mexican head. You could tell the elongated, skull shape right there. That's clearly an African trait. When they elongate the skull coming out of the brain, it shows you that is royalty, okay, from ancient Egypt and Mexico. You could tell from the pre-Incas. They also had the elongated skull that tells you about the royalty, royal nature of it, and fit the headdress, the Egyptian headdress there. You'll see Pharaoh Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti both had the elongated head, so that represented the royal headdress for royalty in Egypt, and you could tell how it was similar to what you saw in Americas, the elongated skull, okay, and the Egypt connection right there. So you had, Akhenaten, worshiping the sun, and he, changed the religion and stuff like that from polytheism to monotheism. But that's a different video that we had. Take a look at that. But you could tell the influence right here from Mexico to Egypt. This is the baptism, okay? The baptism in Mexico, you can see right there that they see, and then also carved in stone in Egypt, the baptism that's going on right there. You know what I'm saying? So they have similar cultural references in both Egypt and in Americas. You could tell they're connected one with another. So that's the same culture. Okay, that's the same culture. It's telling you the culture has traveled from one land to the next. All right, and it's the same people, African people. All right, so you have the dual snakes. You have the Wajet, the upper and lower Kemet, the goddesses, Wajet Mekbet, and you have in Mexico the dual dragon. You know what I'm saying? With the serpent. You know what I'm saying? So the double-headed dragon. So those are the serpents right there. So you could tell the influence, the Egyptian influence on Mexico in America. All right, right there, the winged sun disk, and you could tell the double-headed snake with Ra in the middle, and the wings of Haru, of Horus, they call the winged sun disk, and you could tell it's ancient Egyptian. All right, right here, the Narmer's palette, you can tell right there, and also in the Mexico, the chief, the Mexican chief, who's actually taking his enemy by the head, the exact same way in which Narmer had taken his enemy by the head and is going to bust him upside the head with a mace and then defeat his enemy. You can tell the same way that they depicted that in Mexico. There's the way they depicted it in Egypt centuries before they went to Mexico and America. Okay, so the African influence is there, and you could tell this is Aker. The Aker is the presence of the eternal presence, looking at the past and the future. Okay, so Aker, the double-headed lion, with Ra in the middle, and then at the top in Mexico, the double-headed the monkeys, the double-headed monkeys, looking back the past and then going into the future. You know what I'm saying? So that's Aker going back to Egypt. You know what I mean? So right there, you can tell the lions of yesterday and tomorrow. All right, so Aker is the Egypt symbol for the eternal present moment. So that influence is right there telling you that, those are connecting the same, people back to their particular culture. All right, here you have Heru, goddess Heru, and then Ecuador, you have also the goddess being depicted in stone. So the African influence is right there telling you, what I'm saying, the presence of Egypt is all throughout the Americas. Okay, so that gives you that Olmec presence that they brought with them. They brought their religion, culture. They brought their architectural structures. The bone fragments are there in the Americas. You can find the bloodline that goes through, the Aboriginal people that were there, and then the influence of Africa is all throughout, the Americas. It's undeniable. All right. And then Quetzalcoatl, the mythological creature or god for the rainforest and bringing, rain into the Americas. The Quetzalcoatl, god and stuff like that was the serpent that you want to bring the rain, the precipitation for growing the crops in America and things of that nature. And the battle, the internal struggle between the serpent and the bird. All right, and you could tell that same energy is depicted in what you see in ancient Egypt over to the left. You know what I'm saying, with Set and a pet, and then you have the West African influence with the African chief with the plume plume feathers coming out of the headdress there, and that represented, the bird and the serpent, the secretary bird being able to attack the serpent, the secretary bird in the zoomorphic form of Haru being able to attack his uncle Set, who was, represented as the snake, going way back to the ancient Egyptian mythology between Haru, Set, and his father Asar when he got revenge on his uncle Set for killing his father Asar. So that whole, mythological structure right there is being copied right there from ancient Egypt into the Americas, and is giving you the story and the connection that both of these civilizations and these cultures are the same. All right, so the African influence is greatly there. Right now, Mexicans in Mexico would deny it because they have a mongoloid, or the mongoloid mixing of the blood. Okay, so the mongoloid had came over, and the mongoloid is nothing more than pretty much the descendants of the Khoisan. All right, the Khoisan with the slanted eyes, the African slanted eyes from the southern part of Africa. Those are the Khoisan, who then might eventually grew and evolved into the mongoloid, over time, and through the mixing of albinism, albino babies and things of that nature. So the mongoloid was created, and then you have this creation of what you call an Indian, that evolved over time through the African. Okay, so that's what you have right now. So you can see this image right here, and it's whitewashing the history of African people. Okay, and they're trying to discredit through the CRT, continue uh, racial theories, that they are trying to get rid of, African history, true African history, out of the school systems, and being able to whitewash it and make it something, something that is, not as, I guess, depicting them the true story of how brutal and how savage that they were as a people, the white Europeans, and what they did to a race of people, the Africans, the Indians, what I'm saying, the indigenous people of Americas and the islands and the Caribbeans, all of the wicked and evil things that they've done, they're trying to whitewash it out of history altogether. And this picture, this portrait rather, depicts that and letting you know that, this is what they're trying to do. But here in Maarifa Moments, we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to tell the truth, and we're going to give you the resources that you need in order for you to go and do some more homework and research for yourself exactly, and come to know for yourself exactly what happened, and the true history of our people. So one great book that I recommend that you go and get, They Came Before Columbus, what I'm saying, by Ivan Van Sertima. I recommend you go and purchase this book and read it. It's a very great book. It'll give you all of the insight and information about, the history of America, who founded the Americas, the Olmec, the African Olmec, who started the first civilization, and it'll give the credit to where credit is due, the African. Okay. All right, that's it, man. That's our lesson for today. You know what I'm saying? We hope you enjoyed the lesson of the Olmec. Recommended you go and get that book. You know what I'm saying? They Came Before Columbus by Ivan Van Sertima. Go and do further research, dig deeper. You know what I'm saying? Go and do your own research and read and study about the history of African people here in America and get to know the truth. You know what I'm saying? I gave you a brief overview so you can go ahead and get curious about it. So now you got the curiosity. You go ahead and do the research for yourself and discover the truth. All right, so dig. The video is over, so you know what that means. We need you to come on back. We're going to refresh you right now. We need you to like, subscribe, follow, and share all of our social media platforms at Maarifa LLC. Smash the like button right now. Smash the subscribe button right now. Subscribe to this channel, you know what I'm saying, Maarifa LLC, so you can be updated whenever we drop a new video, and you can always check us out. Share the video with your family and your friends and loved ones, you know what I'm saying. Sit the babies down and let them go ahead and listen to the Maarifa Moments and get this African history into their knowledge base. You know what I'm saying? So they can understand who they are. But dig, check it out. Need you to go over to maarifasar.com. Soon as this video is over and after the promo ending, go ahead and get you some fly and fresh gear at maarifasar.com. Take advantage of the 15% off sales. All right. So dig, this has been another Maarifa moment where knowledge has been reborn. So remember, the more you know, the more you'll grow and the better off we all shall be. So until next time, I'll say love and light. Peace. Let's go. All right. We made it. We made it. Live at Seneferu's pyramid. Okay. Seneferu built this